Jeffrey would love to have people thinking about him, invested into him, obsessed with him. And so he tries the creepiest, weirdest ways to make this a reality. But all it does is just scare off the people that Jeffrey actually wanted in his life. The girl that Jeffrey wants to attract is obsessing about someone else. Adonis. Adonis has a natural aura about him. Everyone in his tribe can't help but be obsessed with him. Not only is he the tribe leader, but he's sexy. Not only is he the best hunter, but he's empathetic. He brings the full package, and he even uses special tricks to make sure that he stays in his people's minds. Do you think it sounds controversial to make people obsessed with you using psychological tricks? Yes. Do you want to do it anyway? Yes. In my second year of university, I was a boy, and I used certain tricks that you're gonna learn here, but I need to explain, okay, first. I used certain tricks to make girls obsessed with me. I went from being a kissless virgin, literally kissless virgin, about 2-3 years prior to this, and when I'm age 21, I was using these tricks, to the point of having 3 girls in love with me at the same time, and 2 of them knew about each other, and they'd often like sort of fight and argue with each other when they'd see each other in the club. They were constantly thinking about me, and they were free whenever I wanted to fuck. I would literally just text them, come to my room, and boom, literally 20-30 minutes later, she would be there. And I wasn't a good person then, so this was 4 or 5 years ago. I was just like a degenerate fuckboy going to clubs, taking drugs, and you know, sleeping with lots of girls and stuff. I wasn't like a nice person back then. But I do remember one thing I did, which I'm not proud of, but like one of the girls that was obsessed with, not even one, honestly. I was gonna say one of the girls, but honestly, most of the girls who were obsessed with me, who I was sleeping with in university, I'd often just look through their phones, like they'd usually just show me their passcodes and stuff. And so when they'd be like asleep next to me, I'd just like, just cause like, it's just interesting. Has she been chatting shit? Has she been fucking anyone else? Let's just find out, bro. I don't recommend doing this, bro. This isn't like, it's not good for your mental health at all. And it just, yeah, it's just not good for you. But like, let me tell you the story of what I did. This girl's asleep next to me, take her phone, I know the passcode, blah, blah, blah. I'd enter and I start looking through the text, and bro, this happened more than once with like different girls, that I'd look through the text. And the best text to look through, if you are like a bad person, you want to look through with girls, I don't recommend doing this, but if you are going to do it, the best text to look through are not to look for guys. It's actually to click on her female friends and actually to see like, has she been talking about like, oh yeah, fuck this guy yesterday. I click on this girl's female friends on her text messages, and literally they're all just about me. They're even like the cutest, saddest shit of like, oh my god, Hamza just texted me and he's in the club, he's thinking about me, yes! This was quite a long time that I was using like certain tricks to make girls obsessed with me. And honestly, I've used similar tricks, but now in a good way from what you're seeing right now. Years later, I've used psychology to stay more than relevant, to be in the minds of thousands of men around the world. There are thousands of guys who are seemingly obsessed with me, and that has led them to change their lives, or perhaps changing their lives has made them obsessed with me. It's the same psychology either way, I've just used it differently in a positive way now. You want to make people obsessed with you, this is exactly what you do. You get them to emotionally invest into you. Emotional investment simply just means the time, energy, and effort someone spends thinking about you, and how much of their emotions is influenced in any way by you. If you are, let's say, a stoic guy who's focused on your purpose, and you have like a girl, you're probably not that emotionally invested into her because you don't spend all day thinking about her. But if you're more of like a feminine guy, younger guy, you're less successful, you're more of like a normal guy, you're probably quite heavily emotionally invested in not just your girlfriend, but maybe even just like a girl that you've got a crush on. You're so emotionally thinking about her all the time. You're so excited when she sends you a text message. Flip this around, and the more that someone else thinks about you, cares about you, feels things because of you, the more that they are obsessed with you. And there's 5 tricks, 5 things we can do to spike how much they are emotionally invested into you. Number 1, polarize. Polarize means to push people to the extremes of loving you or hating you. Too many guys are so soft and so weak that they'll keep people near the middle, that they don't want to offend anyone. The only way that you'll find who is real, the only way that you'll find people who really fuck with you is by pushing people to the extremes and like really showing almost quite extreme versions of your personality and your viewpoints. Because when you show those like extreme viewpoints that you have, that's when anyone else who's similar to that will be like, oh wow, I love that guy, I love his takes. Or some people will say, wait, I hate him. Either way, whether they love you or hate you, they're obsessed with you. The second psychological trick that you can use to make people obsessed with you is to be relatable. And you can see that so clearly with this channel. If you are relatable, if you are just like that person, they'll think about you more because they're able to like put themselves in your shoes. And if you're able to be relatable, but slightly ahead of them, especially in the things that matter, they'll be so like, emotional. They'll be thinking like, whoa, like that guy's so similar to me, but he's done something different. For example, let's use me when I'm 10 years old and I'm a little brown kid, right? Specifically brown, okay? And I see some millionaire walk past, and the millionaire's an old white guy. Oh wow, that's really interesting, he's a millionaire. Oh wow. Imagine if I then see a millionaire who's a brown guy who's only slightly older than me, maybe he's like 20 years old, which one am I able to relate to more? Well, of course, the younger brown guy. He's gonna be in my mind a lot more than fucking Colonel Sanders. If he's in my mind more, then I'm more obsessed with him. I'll be going home thinking, he seems similar to me. How did he make so much money? The third thing you can do to get people obsessed with you is to get them to open up. And this is perhaps like the one that I use quite like negatively and maybe manipulate. I don't know, but just obviously a few years ago, back in the fuckboy days, like it's, you know, girls are in love with me, she's next to me sleeping and stuff, and you know, obviously being sexual and stuff opens up. And so if she's gonna open up emotionally to me more and tell me like, you know, deeper things or experience deeper emotions with me, then of course she's gonna be more obsessed with me. And again, this is what I've been able to do in a more positive way with what I'm doing now, because the nature of the work that we do here, talking about self-improvement, the deep shit that we've been through, usually when I'm speaking to my boys who follow me, you'll end up opening up and telling me some deep stuff. And when you open up to someone, you start thinking about them more, you start obsessing over them more, because you've kind of shared a piece of your experiences, feelings, and maybe traumas. The fourth psychological trick that you can use to get people obsessed with you, and perhaps my favorite, which is, I feel like a bad person talking about my fuckboy days, but it's like, yeah, it's a part of me. You know, I'm grateful for everything I experienced. But the fourth thing you can do is create an enemy. We have an enemy, don't we? And, you know, some people think it's Jeffrey. Not really. Jeffrey's like the younger version of us who's just not really on self-improvement, but he's not like a bad person. The enemy is the modern addictions, the modern sort of system that has bred us and conditioned us to be weak. It's the social media companies, the porn companies, OnlyFans. That is the enemy. If you create an enemy for yourself and the person that you want to obsess over you, it will create this psychological term, what's called in-group and out-group. People will identify with you and want to be on your side. It's like you're fighting a war, and that is so primal, so animalistic, that people will just automatically think about you and our side more, which is emotional investments. I use this in a quite negative way. To be honest, I never started doing this purposefully when I was like a fuckboy, and, you know, creating an enemy meant that there was like two girls who were arguing with each other. I didn't do that like on purpose, thinking, oh yeah, if I create an enemy, it'll be psychological trigger. It was just more that like I was fucking two girls, and like, yeah, I didn't really do it on purpose, but it ended up achieving what I wanted at the time. And now it's very clear that I'm doing it purposefully. I have created an enemy for us because it's causing us to rise up and actually take this so much more seriously. And the fifth thing, you're really going to like this one. The fifth thing that you can do to make people obsessed with you, stay mysterious. A lot of guys don't have the confidence for this, and they'll spill everything about them straight away. And so once the mystery's gone, it's kind of like, yeah, well, I don't need to think about you anymore, do I? So when you meet a new girl, for example, are you the kind of guy who just opens up and just talks and talks and talks and talks? Or do you maintain like almost a level of mystery? Because if you keep some mystery, if you don't reveal everything about you, it will make the other person think about you more, not less, more. Because there's more that they want to piece together. They want to like solve you. They want to like figure you out. If you tell someone everything there is about you, which most guys do, oh, my favorite color is my favorite type of music. What's your favorite type of music? Yeah, I play video games. And what did you do today? Well, today I did work till 3 p.m. and then most guys aren't mysterious at all. So it's obvious that like most girls aren't going to be obsessed with that guy. The girls are obsessed with the guy who stays mysterious. Maybe you're watching this right now thinking, wait, this is controversial as fuck. I don't want to be a bad person. You can use these psychological tricks for good. Psychology is not inherently a bad thing. It can be used negatively. And I hold my hand up. I hold like responsibility for this and say, yes, I used it in a negative way, but it can also be used positively. And again, I hold my hand up and say, yes, I take responsibility. I have used it in this way. It sounds kind of bad to learn and to utilize, you know, tricks to use on people. But I think it's better to learn this stuff and use it in a good way than it is to just like blindly navigate in the dark. We are in a new age of business and success, and we're in the age where the new currency is attention. If you can make people obsessed with you, you can become extremely wealthy, extremely successful, and you can make huge movements. So you can use these psychological tricks that will make people obsessed with you for good. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.